A very significant development for the New York Jets offensive line is underway per Robert Saleh after practice today indicated that tomorrow, August 17th, Mekhi Becton will get his first work at right tackle of the entire summer. And this is great news no matter where it leads. And this was Saleh after practice when asked if he needs to know the starting offensive line by a certain date. He said, quote, as a coach, you want it done yesterday, but it's about finding the right combination. And if it takes us up until game day, it takes us up until game day. I don't feel like there's five guys who have earned it. When asked why Mekhi Becton hasn't gotten the opportunity sooner or gotten a chance to run with the first team more, when some of the guys that have been out there have been struggling, he said that he doesn't think it's fair to all the other guys who've proven they could play a full game. Mekhi is heading in the right direction, he said, but has to prove that he can play a full game. Now, I wonder if this means if he gets reps at right tackle tomorrow, do they put him at right tackle during the preseason game against the Buccaneers? Does he get a chance to play a full game at left tackle because he went from 7 snaps to 2.5 quarters? So I get them not wanting to go from 7 snaps to the whole game last week, but maybe 7 snaps, 2.5 quarters. Does he get to prove to play a whole game next week? Because I don't know if they're going to really play anybody the week after that. So could be a huge opportunity for Mekhi Becton coming up. And look, I was starting to write this off. I've kept saying the date of August 21st. That was the date I circled for Tippmann and Becton. I'm like, if Tippmann's not getting work with Rodgers by then, he's probably not starting week one. If Becton's not getting work at right tackle there, he's probably not going to start at week tackle because that's just the date where you've had 3 preseason games, you've had all your joint practices, you've had a lot of information, and that's where you have to start to make some decisions. So they have time for Becton to work enough at right tackle to be the week one starter if he's healthy, ready to go. And yeah, the communication between from this administration with Mekhi Becton, it's been confusing to say the least, inconsistent. A 6-week injury last 16 months, and then he says the team gets him hurt, but then he got the wrong surgery. Then he just said a couple weeks ago he'd be willing to play right tackle, but he said right tackle will still hurt his knee. Saleh said no, it's just a mental thing. Okay, maybe I'm just an idiot. But you know who's not an idiot? Robert Saleh, Nate Hackett, and Mekhi Becton are not idiots. And Robert Saleh and Nate Hackett understand that Mekhi Becton is a shit ton better than Billy Turner and Max Mitchell. That is not something that is up for debate if he is even remotely close to being healthy. And Mekhi Becton knows that probably starting for the Jets at right tackle on what is, in my opinion, a team that is definitely capable of making a deep playoff run and that will be on prime time every other week is probably better for his bank account than being on the bench as a backup left tackle. Now, I'm assuming this has changed and now Mekhi Becton's knee isn't more at risk at right tackle. I don't know. That still is a little bit confusing to me, but I'm assuming if they're playing him there, they're only playing him there if he's agreed to it and his knee is ready to hold up, and all the doctors and trainers say that that's good to go. This is huge news because, in my opinion, the best Jets offensive line includes Becton and Brown at the tackles and ABT staying at guard. The only reason you'd want to move ABT to tackle is if there was liability at the right tackle side, which Mitchell and Turner were kind of trending in that direction a little bit. And okay, can Becton last the whole season or all that? That's to be determined. But this is good news. Even if he doesn't start and he's a backup swing tackle and he's available to come in off the bench at both sides, that's still better. So, anyway, we look at it, this is a positive development for the Jets offensive line. And I like the urgency that Robert Saleh has had. If you checked out the last episode of Hard Knocks, Robert Saleh, he scathed the Jets offensive line. And to be honest, I think it was made a little bit more than it was. I think anybody who's my 8th grade wrestling coach chewed me out more than that. That's pretty standard, just kind of sports coach to player when you're not doing your job, especially when you're talking about grown men. And he said he pretty much called out their will. Show me something. I watched this tape all night looking for something for you to show me for somebody to win a job. And is it ideal that he said it might take them up until game day to find the starting lineup? No, but I would rather that than him just set the starting lineup now and give it to undeserving people just for the sake of comfort and for the sake of being able to say we have our line set. I'd rather it be you guys got to keep fighting for a job. I'd rather, in an ideal world, to be perfectly set like the defense. We get that. But of those two options, I'd rather him, everyone still needs to keep fighting because not everyone has shown me that they've earned the spot. I like that. And I like that he said, as a coach, you want it done yesterday. He said, we have time, but it's still coming up. So there's urgency, but not panic, not sticking our head in the sand and saying everything is hunky dory and not also canceling the entire freaking season. It's That's where I want it to be at. From a roster construction standpoint, do I love how the offensive line was built? No. Um, but I like the way the coaches are approaching it, especially with being willing to put AVT at tackle if that's what it takes, and being willing to play Mekhi Becton at right tackle. Robert Saleh has shown that he is willing to do whatever it takes and not do what's comfortable and not care who was drafted where, not care who's making what kind of money. Because of their last offensive staff with Mike LaFleur, that I had questions about that. I had questions about nepotism. I had questions about, are we really doing what's best for the team? Are we willing to admit we were wrong? Are we willing to adapt and change? I didn't think he was. I think he thought he was the smartest guy in the room, and it was kind of his way or the highway. And I think we're getting a different message from Robert Saleh, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm pumped to see Mekhi Becton get an opportunity to win the right tackle job. That brings a whole other ceiling to this offensive line. Now, would I still be scouring the waiver market and looking for a trade to bring somebody in? I would. That's not a panic. Was it panicking to sign Dalvin Cook? I don't think so. I think the Jets saw an opportunity where they can improve their team for a price that they thought was fair. And if that opportunity comes via free somebody who's cut, which is not likely, or a mid-level trade, I would still be interested in doing that on this offensive line. I would, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. And we'll talk